many goalies in NHL history do you think have won the Hart Trophy?
Man, I can't remember.
I can name two that I know.
Did Carey Price win when he won all those
Yes.
awards? Okay, so that's the last one I remember. I feel like at one point, one of either Hasek, Waugh, or Brodeur had to have won it. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Hasek. I was going to say Waugh, but I think Hasek. So I would say two in the time that Hasek and Waugh were at their prime.
I mean, you were just. I'm gonna go ahead and pick on you because you were a baby back then. But the Dominator did win two, and he won them back to back Hart trophies: 96, 97, 97, 98
with Buffalo,
and then Buffalo. Yep, and then Jose Theodore, Montreal Canadian, 2001, 2002.
Wow,
and then Carey Price, 2014, 2015. Jacques Plante, 1961 to 62 season, and then three guys who I've never heard of: Al Rollins, Chuck Rayner, and Roy Waters, all the way back in the 1928-29 season. So you got eight goalies. Not even eight goalies.
Waugh or Brodeur?
None for Waugh.
Wow.
No Waugh, no Brodeur. 7 goalies have won the Hart Trophy, and Dominik Hasek is the only one to have 2.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, there's a discussion, and we're not going to get into it because we'd be talking forever.
No, I understand. But you and I can jump that wormhole so easily, man.
Yeah, who's the best goaltender of all time? I tend to
that's a conversation for the off season because I've done that before with on my other show, and that's a fun combo, man. Yeah. I love doing that. Maybe we could even do like top 5 goalies of Ducks history. Maybe do that in the off season. That'd be fun.
To be fair, I haven't seen a lot of Hasek and Waugh. I've seen a decent amount of Martin Brodeur, so I can't really add a ton to the discussion without research. But just looking.
All right, everybody listening right now to the show, go onto Twitter. Tag Eddie or send Eddie Van Jones a bunch of clips of Dominik Hasek playing hockey, playing goal, and carrying that Buffalo Sabres team.
I've seen enough research into Dominik Hasek that I think, and I actually did a project on this before.
Oh, that's amazing.
Where he is, where he was statistically in the data that I ran was better than Juan Brodeur, not by a ton, but based on the data we collected, he was number 1, and I'm not surprised. I mean, he was dominant when he was playing at his best, and the greatest thing about that, he was unorthodox, which is the unique thing about it all.
The second half of his back-to-back Hart-winning seasons, he had 33 wins, 23 losses, and 13 ties. Nothing that like pops out at you as like insane numbers, right?
Yeah.
This is the late 90s. 2.09 goals against average and a .932 save percentage. And I'll shut up about Dominator. I promise we can move on back to Duck stuff, guys. I apologize. I just want Eddie to guess what his save percentage was that year.
I feel like it's absurdly high, so I'm going to say like 935.
Oh, I just said it. I said 932. Sorry, how many shutouts do you think he had that year?
Oh, shutout. Okay, 10.
That's probably 13 freaking shutouts, man.
I thought 10 would be high. Okay.
He had 13 back then. He was dominant. So that's the Dominator, and that's why he deserves the Hart. It's very nice of Cole Anderson to say that that's a better argument for Giddy, but it's so few and far between end up getting that. It's incredible that he can be put in that discussion. There's a really cool poll I want to get to in a minute, but I know we talked about it a little bit, but do you have any more that you want to say about Rickard Rakell and his streak? I kind of wanted to jump into his contract real quick and do some comparables. Do you have Cap Friendly up? You want me to pop that up?
Yeah, pop it up because I believe...
I'm going to pop that up.
I don't want to be wrong when I bring up his contract. I feel like I know what it is in my head, but I could be wrong. But I'll talk a bit about his streak because it is impressive. And, we talked about Line A in the last show and how his goal-scoring streak is impressive as well. But so Rakell now in his last 5 games has 8 goals, which is insane the way he's been playing. He's now up to 30, which is back-to-back 30-goal seasons. Unless he slumps for the rest of the season, he's going to break his career high, which was 33 set up last year. He's already had a career high in points now with 58 with the 2 goals tonight. I mean, he just keeps getting better. And I wanna believe he can get even better next season, but it's gonna be hard to keep improving on this. I mean, we say every season it's a surprise that he keeps getting better and better, and he keeps wowing and just getting up to that next level. But if he hits 35 to, I don't think he can hit 40, but you never know with the way he's playing right now, and gets around 60 to 70 points, it's gonna be hard to top that. And he's gotten better every season since he first started with the Ducks. I would love it for him to get to top a season like that, but there's nothing wrong with him consistently being a 30-goal scorer and a guy who can get 65, 70 points. I mean, that's an elite-level talent, and definitely not what we expected when the Ducks first drafted Rakell 30th overall.
Not at all. And the great thing for us Ducks fans is we have 4 more years of this contract.
Yeah.
He signed a 6-year deal. There's still 4 left. Takes him into the beginning of his UFA status, which is great for Anaheim. His cap hit, Eddie, is $3.8 million for a 30-goal scorer. Yeah. That's just I don't know how Bob Murray pulled that off, but he certainly stole that. Whatever dollars he didn't pay him and put him back inside the Ducks piggy bank there to pay future guys, because there's not much more you can ask of Rakell on that for that price tag. He's got a cap hit that's similar to guys like, I don't know, we got some young guys on here, like guys that like Victor Rask, right? He doesn't have 30 goals. Yeah. Brendan Gallagher, he doesn't have 30 goals. Andrew Shaw, no. Trocheck, good player.
That's arguable right there before we blow
Trocheck
past them.
Makes sense.
Scored, I think it's 26 of the season. He's sitting around the same amount of points as Rakell. I think that's a pretty good comparable on when you have steals and best contracts around what Rakell's making. Those are 2 guys that are on unbelievably cheap contracts.
And he's about $1 million more than Rakell. Just a little under $1 million more a year. But still, Vincent Trocheck's a great player there in Florida, so that's a great job there to sign him away like that too. But how about Anders Lee? He's having just a wild year this year, right?
Yeah, and he's really underrated too, because
he or is he just living on Tavares?
Okay, I'm gonna have to dive into it now. We're going off track, but I believe this is his second or third. I think this is his second or third 30-goal season. His second. So he had 34 last year, 31 this year.
Okay.
I feel like he's a bit underrated, and I get it. There's a Tavares factor. I remember when Matt Molson was playing with Tavares, and he was one of the better players in the National Hockey League at that point because he was playing with John Tavares, and now he's playing, I think, with the Kings AHL affiliate, or he's somewhere in the AHL. So, yeah, I don't want to hype him up too much, and I feel like it's impressive no matter what. Even it doesn't matter who you're playing with if you can get 30 goals, because Patrick Maroon played with Ryan Getzlaf, and he didn't get 30 goals. And there's a lot of guys who play with good players. Patrick Maroon played with Connor McDavid and didn't get 30 goals. And I'm not saying he's a similar player to Anders Lee, but at some point there's still some skill there, and there's still some underrated talent.
No, for sure. I just wanted to point out the guys that were most closely related, contract-wise, to Rakell, Victor Rask, Brendan Gallagher, Andrew Shaw, and Victor Arvidsson is a good player for Nashville. But those guys were the closest there. Nick Bukestad is another one who's also a talented young guy. But Rakell putting up 30 goals, just unbelievable for Anaheim there. You got to love his play. And I think I want to hop into that NHLPA player poll. How about you?
Yeah, I'm biting my tongue.
I wanted to segue, jump into that.
I'm biting my tongue to not go onto a tangent about how impressed I am with the Florida Panthers, but we'll...
Well, they're on a wild run right now, too. That's why. It's fun to talk about. They're on a wild run.
I love Alexander Barkov, but that's as far as you're going to get with that. That's for another time. So we'll get into that.
Yeah, of course.
I briefly looked at this NHLPA players poll. I know you looked at it in depth, so I think we can have a little bit of discussion about what went on with that.
Yeah, so for those of you guys who don't know, the NHLPA puts out a player poll every year where they ask a bunch of the guys in the league. And this one it says over 500 players took part in the poll. 20 hockey-related questions during the annual NHLPA meetings between the preseason and early January of this year, 2018. And so the players weighed in and just on some basic questions, and some of them kind of popped up as funny. You're going to get some of these, but if you guys don't, want to know what I'm talking about, all you got to do is type in NHLPA player poll, and it's like the first thing that pops up in Google for 2017, 2018. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off the first question here. Just have a little bit of fun. After a loss, why not? Let's go ahead and put Eddie on the spot. So the first one, Eddie, is players were asked, who is the league's fastest skater? And I know who you're going to say for number one, so I want your answer for number two.
Well, I mean...
Go ahead and give number one. Go ahead.
Well, number one has to be Connor McDavid because I think that's just consensus. Number two is interesting because I would personally say Matt Barzal, but I feel like the rest of the league might not have seen enough of him to put him up there. So I'm going to say... Oh, this is tough. I don't want to sit on this forever, but I'm just gonna say Dylan Larkin.
Dylan Larkin was the fourth. Okay. Michael Grabner was
well,
number two.
That's not too bad.
Not too far-fetched. Connor McDavid got 81% of the votes. Grabner got 3.6 of the votes. So it shows you 3.6% was the second highest percentage to McDavid getting 81%.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Nick Leddy was third, ahead of Dylan Larkin, and then Chris Kreider was fifth.
Nick Leddy is the fastest defenseman in the NHL according to the player poll. I feel like that is. I mean, I feel like most people put Connor McDavid, like you said, and then there was like a slew of people maybe from the Islanders themselves, or like a team that faces the Islanders enough to see Nick Leddy that they rated him. I don't think he's slow, but I definitely don't think he's the fastest defenseman in the National Hockey League. So
no, and I was surprised I saw a defender on there over guys. Like, really, they did not watch the skills competition.
Yeah.
Like, did they not see who went for the fastest skater? Anyway, let's get on over to the next question for goaltending. Again, for those of you who missed part of the show, you're tuning in right now. I'm going through with Eddie the NHLPA player poll. We're having some fun because we didn't want to dwell on the Ducks' loss tonight. So I'm going to ask you, Eddie, the skaters were asked, not goalies, just the skaters. Which goalie is the most difficult to score on in the NHL today?
See, I have an answer, but I'm like put off by the play this season. But I feel
go with your gut.
I feel like people, based on the entire career, would pick Carey Price as number one.
He was number one, 41%. Who do you think's number two?
This is interesting because this opens an entire discussion into goaltenders after Carey Price, and I think I got to think of like recency and who's been doing well lately. I kind of want to say...
It wasn't John Gibson.
No. I want to say Sergei Bobrovsky.
So Bob was number 4. Jonathan Quick was number 2 at 12.1%.
Debatable.
We can hop on that question. We can talk about Jonathan Quick, and I don't want to go on a bashing rant, but I've been known to not like him or his style of play or his overratedness, in my opinion. But we can hop into that on a different day. Mm-hmm. So Carey Price, 41%. Jonathan Quick, 12.1%. Pekka Rinne, 9.3%. Bobrovsky, 8.2%. Braden Holtby at 5%. And then others were rated amongst different percentages, around 24% or so is the rest of them. So let's go to another question here. Who is the most difficult player to play against?
Player, right? So does this include... Yep. Okay. Well, I feel like I want to say Sidney Crosby because I feel like people have played him.
Damn, you're good.
Is it? It's probably got to be close with McDavid as well.
You got number 1 and number 2. Well, it makes sense, right? Crosby's been in the league 10 years. A lot of guys have had plenty of time to see him win everything under the sun. Top 2 guys, Crosby, McDavid, then Kane, and then Shea Weber. And then, you know what? You got to hand it to Andrei Kopitar. Yeah, Weber hasn't played. They think they shut him down, right?
Kopitar was on there?
Kopitar was 5th.
I could see that. I mean, he's a big, imposing guy, but I feel like Getzlaf getting slighted a bit because I feel like I'm being a little bit of a homer, but I feel like he's probably just seeing him enough. Got to be a tough guy to play against.
No, 100%. I'm going to kind of try to buzz through these kind of quickly because there's quite a few of them. I don't want to stick on this too long. But players were asked, who's the toughest player in the NHL?
Toughest as in like fighting?
They just said toughest. They didn't say anything about
toughest to play against, so toughest. This is not trying to have a pun, but this is probably a tough question because there's a lot of tough guys. I would feel like he'd be a well-liked tough guy because nobody's going to vote for a guy everybody hates. I'll go with Tom Wilson